Hey, Northern Michigan, joining me today is Michelle Hoitenga, running for State Senate. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. So first of all, tell the voters in the area, tell us about yourself.
Born and raised in Northern Michigan. I have two sons, mother to a Marine, and I have a son who is in agriculture. I'm a small business owner and a former mayor of the little town of Manton.
Beautiful. So have you always wanted to stay in Northern Michigan?
Absolutely. 7 generations deep, and I have very deep roots here, and I love Northern Michigan, and I'll stay here forever.
Absolutely. What are your favorite parts about Northern Michigan?
The favorite parts would be our way of life. And so we hunt, we snowmobile in the winter, all the things that come with Northern Michigan, our woods, our waters, camping, rivers, and it's just our way of life.
Yeah, and it definitely attracts a lot of people up here for sure. So, and we want to keep that going, the tourism in Northern Michigan. So as a state senator, how would you keep that going and improve tourism in the area?
Yeah, our businesses are really struggling right now. As I go around the district, they're talking about the lack of staffing right now, and so this is a real issue for them. So we need to make sure we're getting people back to work, getting people in the small businesses, because they keep the economic boom going. And so to be successful for tourism, we got to make sure that all of our small businesses are adequately staffed.
Absolutely. And around here in Alpena, a big problem, well, they kind of go together, workforce and housing shortage. So that's a big part of it. You know, people want to come work here, but there's just nowhere for them to live. So how do we go about tackling that issue?
Yeah, and there is only so much government can do. We have a lot of policies right now that are actually hurting the building industry. Prices are high. The economy's not doing so good right now. The cost to build is, I'm hearing, double at this point. What normally would have been a $150,000 home is now $300,000. So we got to get prices under control. We got to get the economy under control, inflation. And that includes energy, the price of gas. And it's just a circle that we need to get under control before we'll be able to expand.
Absolutely. And I want to move on to the next topic. Actually, Joel Shelton and I kind of discussed the Line 5 situation with, concerns about a possible leak in the future, how they're planning that tunnel. So how do you think we should handle Line 5? I mean, should the pipeline remain open, do you think?
Absolutely, it should remain open. I have visited the pipeline many, many times. I've been on a boat. I've watched them drill down to get the core. Hundreds of feet down, and so I'm very, very in tune with what's going on, and I've stayed on top of it, and I'm very educated about what's happening and taking place. We need to make sure that Michigan is approving the permits quickly, efficiently, because they're ready to roll. They are ready to get the new tunnel in, and the way to protect our Great Lakes and our beautiful water is to get that new tunnel built. They have plans to put a lot of fiber through there, utilities through there, and so it's more than just a gas tunnel. They're going to do some really great things. We got to stop holding them up, get the permits approved, and get that tunnel done.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned the beautiful waters here in Northern Michigan. That's a big concern for voters around here. We have to deal with shoreline erosion and other things happening with the water. So how do we keep our water clean, and as well as other environments around here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've worked with the current state representative here, and she's worked with the PFAS situation. It's been a big passion of hers in Ascota and some other areas. And so we've been very proactive in the legislature. I am a current legislator in the House of Representatives. I forgot to mention that, but we have been very proactive in making sure that we're putting forward policies that are protecting our Great Lakes and our environment.
Mm-hmm. For sure, absolutely. So, Michelle, what do you want to tell our voters? Why should they be looking at you instead of Joel Shelton?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there's things Mr. Shelton and I agree about. We're both pro-life. We support our tourism. We're both very pro-country. I think he was a veteran, and so is my son, and so is my family. But there's a lot of differences. And the differences are pretty big. I support policies that I don't support President Biden, and I don't support the policies that are taking us in the wrong direction. And I feel like we really need to turn the country around, turn our state around by undoing some of these damaging policies that have been done, and I'm ready to do that. I would also say in a recent interview with him, he talked about his time spent in Lansing recently speaking with lobbyists, and he is a lobbyist. We have enough lobbyists in Lansing. We don't need any more lobbyists in Lansing. I've been around the district speaking with the families, the parents, the schools, and the communities, and those are the voices I want to represent.
Mm-hmm. And we also, me and Joel and I, excuse me, we talked about, he's a centrist Democrat, so he leans left is kind of the vibe we were getting. And he is confident he'll be able to work with both Republicans and Democrats, and that's really the key to actually making things happen. So how do you feel about working with both sides?
Yeah, and that's not an issue for me. In fact, I've had bills signed by both Democrat and Republican governors, and they were good bills, and I didn't have to make any deals to get them done. It was just good policy. Ronald Reagan is my favorite president, and he said he always spoke of, prosperity and hope, and he said there is no left and there is no right, there's only up and down. And I agree with that. And he said at the time, right now the economy, the policies are down, and that applies to today. We're really struggling today, so I don't believe there's left and right now. We just have some policies we got to fix and turn our situation around, turn our economy around.
Yeah, maybe we could talk about more national headlines such as the Inflation Reduction Act. So what's your reaction to that passing and being signed?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in that act that actually reduces inflation. The people I speak to, the moms and dads and families when I knock doors, they're telling me their concerns are buying groceries, paying for gasoline right now. There's nothing in those policies that I see that is going to help them with those immediate concerns. In fact, I believe they're going to make them worse. And so when I speak to business owners, they're talking about their issues are keeping employees. They're very concerned about that. When I speak with communities and municipalities, their concerns are lack of EMS workers, the police right now, their communities, the crime in their communities. And they're very concerned. We need to let our men and women who are serving our communities and keeping us safe know that we support them. And so I don't see anything being passed right now that's helping those immediate situations.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, Michelle, well, I think those are all my questions for you today. Is there anything else you want to add? Anything you want to tell our voters here in Northeast Michigan?
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me here. Please go to my website, michellehoitenga.com, and you can learn more about me, and I really appreciate you taking the time to get to know me.
All right, absolutely. It's a pleasure to get to know you too, Michelle. Thanks so much for coming in, and thank you for watching Northern Michigan.